Hello and welcome to Performance Testing Hub. I am Nikhil. In today's video, we'll be having an introduction to performance testing. So let's get started. So what is performance testing? Performance testing is a non-functional testing technique to evaluate the performance of a system under various workload conditions. Here the objective is not to find the functional issues but to find the performance bottlenecks. Attributes such as reliability, scalability, responsiveness, resource utilization are measured during performance testing. Now let's see why we require performance testing. By doing performance testing, stakeholders get to know how their system may perform in production. Performance testing helps in comparing your application performance with industry benchmark. It also helps in creating performance baseline of your application. Suppose you have upgraded or modified your application. Then this performance baseline can be used to evaluate what negative impact this upgrade has caused in the performance of your application. Performance testing helps in finding issues in pre-production itself. By emulating the real-world scenario, we can find issues before they arise in production. Finally, and most important thing, performance testing helps in delivering a high-performing software or system to the end users. Now let's see what are the different types of performance testings commonly used. The first is load test. In this, we test the system with expected user load. Objective of this testing is to find if system is able to handle expected user load or not. Next is stress test. In stress test, we test the system with more than expected user load or extreme load. Objective is to find how the system behaves when there is an extreme load condition. Next is soak test. So this is also known as endurance testing. In this, we test the system by loading it with expected load for long duration. Objective of this testing is to find if system is stable or not when we are running the same load for long duration. Issues like memory leak are found during this testing. Next is spike test. In spike test, we test the system by emulating sudden spike in user load. Objective of this testing is to find how the system behaves when there is a sudden spike in user load. Next is scalability testing. Objective of this testing is to find if system is scalable to support increased user load or not. Scaling can be either horizontal or vertical. Horizontal scaling means adding more machines. Vertical scaling means adding more resources to existing machines. Next is volume test. Objective of this testing is to evaluate the impact of varying database volumes on the system performance. Next is the client test. Objective of this testing is to validate the system performance as an end user. Client machine resource usage, user experience while performing activities are part of this testing. So these are some common performance testing used. Based on what is the objective of your testing, we need to select type of testing accordingly. Now let's see what are the common performance testing terminologies. Is response time. The total time it takes when a user makes a request until they receive a response is known as response time. The lesser the response time, the better it is. Next is hits per second. It is the number of requests hitting the server per second. Next is throughput. It is a measure of amount of work done per unit time. During performance testing, we generally get requirements in terms of throughput. Example, system should achieve X number of transactions per hour or requests per second or hits per minute, etc. Next is workload model. It is the process of distributing user load between scenarios. Little's law along with non-functional requirements are used to design this workload modeling. Next is simultaneous users. Simultaneous users are those active users who are performing same activity at any given point of time. For example, a system is having 5 users and all performing login, checkout and then logout activity exactly at the same time. Last is concurrent users. Concurrent users are those active users who are performing different activities at any given point of time. That means all active users, they all are active but may not be performing exactly same task at the same time. For example, one is doing login while other was doing logout operations. So these are some of the common terminologies frequently used in performance testing. Now let's see what is the performance testing cycle and which all activities are part of this cycle. First step is non-functional requirement gathering. Non-functional requirements are also called NFRs. User load, SLAs, throughput, and all related details to application under test are gathered in this phase. Next is strategy creation. All test related strategies and planning are done in this cycle. Next is test design. This phase includes script creation and related activities. Next comes workload modeling. This phase includes distributing user load between scenarios based on NFRs. Next is test execution. Scenario is designed and executed using workload model and scripts here. Next comes result analysis. The execution output is analyzed and results are recorded here. And finally, the recommendation phase, where recommendations are made based on analyzed results. So this is the performance testing cycle usually followed during any test execution. Now let's see some of the common performance issues generally faced. First is poor response time, which means the API or the request is taking more than expected time in giving the response. Next is improper load balancing, which means load is not evenly distributed among available resources, which may in turn cause degradation in performance. Next is high resource utilization. High resource utilization of server resource, mainly processor and RAM, caused due to poor coding standards. Next is not able to support concurrent users. So the application may see degradation in performance as the number of concurrent users are increasing. Next is database query not optimized. Poorly written database queries may cause bad response time, high resource utilization, and overall degradation of the application. Last is memory leak. Memory leak happens when application keep on consuming memory over time and not releasing it, which finally cause application to run out of memory. So these are some of the common performance issues which may seen during execution. Now let's see what kind of performance testing assignments we get in real world. Now first let's see what kind of assignments we get when there is a new application. Client has a new application which is yet to be deployed in production. Requirement is to execute performance test and create performance baseline. Also, we need to validate if response time is meeting the SLAs or not. So this kind of assignments we get when there is a new application. Let's see what kind of assignments we get when there is an application upgrade. Client application has undergone a major upgrade. Requirement is to execute performance test and compare the results with existing baseline. So this kind of assignments we get when there is an application upgrade happen. Now let's see what kind of assignments we get when there is a performance issue in production. So client is experiencing performance degradation due to increase in user load. Requirement is to execute performance test and find out how many users can system support. Client also wants to know if the system is scalable or not for this extra load. Now let's see some tools which can be used for performance testing. Performance testing requires tools which can be used for creating scripts and emulating user load. There are many tools available in market. I have listed here one licensed tool and one open source tool. So let's see them one by one. The first is LoadRunner. It's a licensed tool. It has a dedicated components for scripting, execution, and analysis. Depending on what license you have, it limits the number of user load generation. The next tool is Apache JMeter. It is an open source tool. It's a pure Java based application and it works on all platforms which supports Java. Basically, there is no limit in generating user load. It totally depends on the machine configuration from which you are using this tool. I am not going in detail for these tools as I will be creating separate videos for these tools. So now let's see a quick recap of what all things we have seen today. So we have seen what is performance testing, why performance testing is required, what are the common types of performance testing, what are the common performance testing terminologies used, what is performance testing cycle, common performance issues we see. We have also seen sample performance test assignments, and finally we have seen tools for performance testing. So this completes the objective of this video. Hope you got a good overview of performance testing. So please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.